Imagine walking into a school where teachers feel energized instead of exhausted, where students feel supported, where ideas flow freely, and where leadership doesn't belong to just one principal sitting in an office. Instead, everyone leads. Teachers lead, students contribute, teams collaborate, and the entire school moves forward together. Sounds ideal, right? But according to the promise of collective leadership, this isn't just a dream. It's a proven framework that can help schools reduce teacher burnout, improve educator retention, and create stronger learning environments for students. In today's video, we'll break down the powerful ideas from this book and explore how collective leadership can completely transform education. And even if you're not a teacher or school administrator, the lessons in this book apply to teams, businesses, and organizations everywhere. Let's begin. The problem with traditional leadership. For decades, schools have operated using a top-down leadership model. The principal makes decisions. Teachers follow instructions. Students adapt to the system. But here's the problem. When leadership becomes too centralized, people begin to disconnect. Teachers stop feeling ownership. Creativity decreases. Burnout increases. And eventually, talented educators leave. The book highlights a major issue facing schools today: teacher retention. Across many countries, educators are overwhelmed by stress, lack of support, limited autonomy, emotional exhaustion, feeling unheard, and when teachers leave, students suffer too. New teachers constantly replacing experienced ones creates instability in learning environments. The authors argue something important. The solution isn't simply hiring more teachers. The solution is creating schools where educators actually want to stay. And that starts with leadership. Not leadership from one person, but leadership shared by everyone. What is collective leadership? So what exactly is collective leadership? Collective leadership means leadership responsibilities are shared across the school community. Instead of one leader controlling everything, leadership becomes collaborative. Teachers help shape decisions. Staff members contribute ideas. Students have a voice. Families become partners. The school becomes a connected ecosystem instead of a hierarchy. The authors explain that leadership is not a position. Leadership is influence. And influence exists everywhere. A classroom teacher who inspires others, that's leadership. A staff member who improves communication, leadership. A student who helps create a positive culture, also leadership. Collective leadership unlocks the hidden potential already inside the school. And here's why this matters. When people feel trusted, they become more invested. When people feel heard, they become more committed. When people feel valued, they perform better. This creates something every successful school needs: belonging. The power of belonging. One of the strongest ideas in this book is that belonging directly impacts performance. People thrive in environments where they feel respected, included, safe, appreciated, and educators are no different. Many teachers don't leave because they dislike teaching. They leave because they feel isolated and unsupported. The book emphasizes psychological safety. That means creating a culture where educators can share ideas openly, admit mistakes, ask for help, challenge outdated systems without fear. Think about it. Innovation cannot happen in environments dominated by fear, but when schools create trust, teachers become more creative. Collaboration increases, morale improves, and students benefit from more engaged educators. The authors also discuss how hidden hierarchies inside schools can silence valuable voices. Sometimes younger teachers, support staff, or even students have incredible ideas, but nobody listens. Collective leadership changes that. It says every voice matters. And that shift can completely transform school culture. The REV framework. At the center of the book is the REV framework. REV stands for reflect. Elevate, value, let's break these down. Reflect. Schools must honestly examine their current culture and leadership systems. Questions include who has a voice here, who feels excluded, are decisions collaborative or controlled, do teachers feel empowered? Reflection creates awareness, and awareness is the first step toward change. Elevate. The next step is elevating voices that are often ignored. This means encouraging teacher leadership, giving staff ownership, creating collaborative decision-making supporting innovation. The goal is not perfection. The goal is participation. Because when people help build something, they care more about protecting and improving it. Value, finally, schools must intentionally value contributions. Recognition matters, appreciation matters, human connection matters. People stay where they feel valued. And the authors argue that retention improves dramatically when educators know their contributions truly matter. How collective leadership impacts students. Now you might be wondering, how does all this affect students? The answer is massively. Students learn best in stable, healthy environments. When teachers collaborate effectively, instruction improves. Communication becomes stronger. Problems get solved faster. Students receive more consistent support. But there's another important point. Students themselves can become leaders. Collective leadership encourages schools to involve students in school culture, feedback systems, peer mentorship, community improvement. This gives students ownership over their environment, and ownership creates engagement. The book reminds us that education is not just about delivering information. It's about building communities where people grow together. And when students witness collaboration, trust, and shared leadership, they learn those values too. Lessons for every organization. What makes this book powerful is that its lessons extend far beyond schools. Businesses, teams, non-profits, even families, all function better when leadership is shared. The old model says, one leader has all the answers. But the modern world is too complex for that. The best organizations today are collaborative. They listen, they adapt, they empower people, and they understand a critical truth. People support what they help create. That idea alone can transform workplaces, classrooms, and communities. So here's the big takeaway from the promise of collective leadership. Great schools are not built by one heroic leader. They are built by connected communities. Communities where teachers feel valued, where students feel heard, and where leadership becomes a shared responsibility instead of a title. The book challenges us to rethink leadership completely, not as control, but as collaboration, not as hierarchy, but as partnership. Because when people rise together, everyone benefits. Students learn better. Teachers stay longer. Schools become healthier. And communities grow stronger. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with educators, school leaders, and anyone passionate about creating better learning environments. And remember, the strongest leaders don't create followers. They create more leaders.